The top stories. President Addis Selassie calls for bold global climate action at UN Climate Week. And media professionals called for a united front in telling the continental story through the eyes of Africa. Hello and welcome to EBC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism, and many thanks for watching us. With the news, I'm Shifarao Lako.
Important aspects of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is that at full capacity, it will be able to generate 5,150 megawatts of power. If you look at sub-Saharan Africa in particular, the greatest threat to life and instability and insecurity is the lack of energy. The potential for East Africa and the Horn of Africa to grow, Ethiopia will be the driver of that process. And that's something we should all support and recognize.
Now, on the occasion of the 1,500th Maulid holiday, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed delivered a message of peace and prosperity to all Muslims. As the year 2017 Ethiopian calendar comes to a close, the Premier reminded Ethiopians of the importance of learning from the lives of great leaders. The Prime Minister specifically highlighted the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, urging people to study his life and find strength in his journey. Abiy stated that this period marks a time when the revival of Ethiopia is coming to fruition. He credited divine blessings for the country's recent progress, adding that a combination of knowledge and patience will be key to achieving greater prosperity, referencing another saying of the Prophet, "If the days of judgment should arrive while you are planting a tree, continue planting it without stopping." The Prime Minister called on all Ethiopians to continue doing well for their country, regardless of the obstacles they face. He stressed that good deeds are the most honorable actions a person can take. The Prime Minister underscored his message by expressing hope that the Muslim community would use the holiday as an opportunity to prepare for the upcoming year by committing to good deeds. He declared that the 2018 Ethiopian calendar would be a pivotal year for strengthening Ethiopia's revival across all sectors. May Ethiopia, through the efforts of its children, live forever in dignity and respect. May God bless Ethiopia and its people, he concluded. President Addis Selassie has called for bold climate action and improved access to climate finance to tackle the impacts of climate change. He emphasized that unsustainable debt and outdated global financial system remain major hurdles to building climate resilience across Africa. The UN Climate Week kicked off at the Addis Ababa International Convention Center. Goshubaliso reports.
The UN Climate Week kicked off in Addis Ababa at Addis International Convention Center. Addressing the gatherings, President Addis Selassie called for bold and transformative climate action with a focus on fair and predictable climate finance.
The gravity of the challenge before us demands bold and transformative action to uphold the promise of the Paris Agreement and secure a just and sustainable future for all.
Underscoring Ethiopia's efforts, he highlighted key initiatives such as the Green Legacy Initiative, the Climate Smart With program, and the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The completion of the GERD, which is expected to generate over 5,000 megawatts of electricity, will significantly alleviate energy poverty in Ethiopia and in the East Africa region.
We are preparing to inaugurate the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam soon, by heavily investing our own domestic resources. Despite all the challenges in hydroelectric power, we are demonstrating our commitment to clean energy as part of our national determined contributions. The GERD will generate over 5,000 megawatts of renewable electricity, enough to power homes, schools, and industries. This brings us closer to address energy poverty in Ethiopia and across East Africa and beyond.
However, President Abiy cautioned that unsustainable debt and an outdated global financial architecture are obstacles to build climate resilience across Africa. Minister of Planning and Development Fustum Asafa, for her part, reiterated for bold, practical and result-driven actions in the fight against climate change.
This Climate Week is not just an event. It is a bridge between negotiation and implementation. It is where ambition meets action, where commitments are translated into real solutions that reach communities, restore ecosystems, and advance sustainable development. Let this Climate Week be bold, practical, and impactful. Let it strengthen our collective resolve as we journey together toward this African Climate Summit 2 and COP30 in Belem.
Speaking at the opening of UN Climate Week, Deputy Executive Secretary of UN highlighted and hub for regional diplomacy and sustainable development.
Addis Ababa today continues to stand tall as the diplomatic capital of Africa, home to the African Union. This is fitting at this critical juncture in humanity's climate fight, because there is no overcoming this global crisis without cooperation.
Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mohamed Ali Yusuf, stressed the critical need for Africans to stand together so that the continent can effectively amplify its voice on the global stage.
Today, I am joined by Pakistani Ambassador to Ethiopia. He is Mr. Atif Sharif Mian.
Maulid is a very special occasion for all the Muslims, as it's the birthday and the birthday month of our Prophet ﷺ. And it's a time when we reflect on his teachings. Yes.
You are going to celebrate this holiday together with your family in Ethiopia. So how are you planning to celebrate?
Pakistan is a Muslim majority country, and people are very devout believers. They follow their faith very devoutly. Just like in Ethiopia, people follow their religion very faithfully and with devotion.
Welcome back. Now, African media professionals are calling for a united front in telling the continent's story through the eyes of Africa. Speaking to EBC World, they emphasized the urgent need for African journalists and media houses to shape and share narratives rooted in African values and realities, highlighting the continent's progress and challenges on its own terms. Jerusalem Batsia has more on that.
During the opening of the 35th African Union Assembly, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed criticized the global media's distorted portrayal of Africa and called for the establishment of a continental media house under the African Union to promote a new, authentic narrative about the continent. His call has received strong support from African media practitioners who attended the 15th Annual East African Communication Association Conference last week. Speaking to EBC World, they praised Ethiopia's initiative, emphasizing the urgent need for African voice to take charge in telling Africa's story rooted in its values, realities, and aspirations.
A lot of the media from the West, what it portrays about Africa are the conflicts, the wars, hunger, all those negative things. What we in Africa need to do is to talk about our successes, the things that we have done very well, the things that can have made us, Africa is a big continent with so many people, with many cultures. How do we make sure that we tell them that this is Africa with very many cultures, but with very vibrant cultures, and we have a story to tell
our stories the African way and not through the Western lenses. It's time, I think, we took up that role as ourselves, and then we do it ourselves. Most of the African history that is out there, it is through the eyes of the Western lens. And it will be good for us to start telling through the African narrative instead of us relying on the West.
It is all the media coming from other parts of the world, from China, from Europe, from the US, that are telling African stories, but from their own perspective and their own narrative fitting their own interests. So I think it's important to have a very powerful, very strong media outlet, African media outlet, telling, not only telling African stories, but also talking about the world from an African perspective, commenting global events from an African perspective.
The practitioners stressed the importance of collaboration among African journalists and media outlets to highlight the continent's progress and promote its vision on the global stage.
African media to come together to build stronger bonds and networks among the media houses in Africa, right? We have so many countries. Let us get together and make sure that we have a network of all these media houses so that we can work together in promoting our stories, to even to produce documentaries about Africa, right? And so on and so forth, to show what Africa is doing, yes, for ourselves, not to be, so that we tell the story for ourselves, not others to tell it about us.
Why not Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation have exchange program with the Senegalese national broadcaster? I think this is a way to circumvent all the problems we have, because sometimes we have funding problems, we have infrastructure problems. So I think we can have different strategies in terms of exchanging programs to collaborate to create strong media.
They also urged African media to draw lessons from Asian countries that have successfully shaped their global image through strategic media engagement.
The Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, says all member states are affected by terrorism. Meanwhile, the authority also told EBC World that Ethiopia is showing unwavering and steadfast commitment to countering terrorism. Sintayo Tamrat has more on that.
According to the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, the Horn and East African region is a source, transit, and final destination of wide-ranging common transnational security threats, including terrorism. Commander Abebe Muluneh, director of IGAD Peace and Security Division, told ABC World that there are several root causes for terrorism and other transnational security threats to have a strong hold in the region.
There are many reasons. The first one is the failed state of Somalia. As you know it very well, after the expelling or after the oust of Colonel Zayed Barre, there were a power vacuum in Somalia, so most terrorist groups from the Middle East and others has got a fertile ground to flourish, a vacuum. They use that vacuum.
The Sudan and South Sudan crisis, inter- and intra-state conflict, poverty and unemployment are among the very reasons for terrorism and security threats to get a fertile ground in the Horn and East African region, he added.
No state is secure from terrorism. All of them are affected. We can refer many terrorism incidences since 1970s. In 1970s, for instance, the Norfolk Hotel in Nairobi was attacked by the Palestinians. We can refer the Palestinian hijacking the airplane of Israel and landed in Entebbe in 1970s and 1960s.
Palestinian terrorists.
Yeah, Palestinian PLOs. Then we can refer the 1993
Black Hawk down, which was the helicopter that was attacked in Mogadishu after the fall of Somalia and Ziad Barre. So we can refer also the 1995 assassination attempt of Hosni Mubarak here in Ethiopia. We can refer the assassination attempt of Dr. Abdul Majid Hussein while he's going to his office in telecommunication. We can refer the 1998 Nairobi and Dar es Salaam U.S. Embassy explosive devices and bombings. There were also a series of attacks in Ethiopia, a series of attacks in Kenya, Djibouti, Uganda, elsewhere.
The IGAD has been partnering with the United Nations Security Council, the African Union Peace and Security Council, African Center for Research and Study on Terrorism, AFRIPOL, CIVIPOL, and the EU, among others, in its efforts to tackle the evils of terrorism. The director, Commander Abiy, mentioned.
Submitted 2 reports to United Nations Security Council on terrorism. These 2 reports are for supporting the monitoring group, just to give them a picture what terrorism looks like in our region. The second issue that we can consider it as an achievement, IGAD developed IGAD conventions on extradition and mutual legal assistance. The third one, IGAD also have a strategy, regional strategy for countering improvised explosive devices, maritime security, violent extremism. We do have different instruments and tools to cope up or to curb the spread of terrorism in our region.
Commending Ethiopia's fight against terrorism, the director had this to say.
Ethiopia has unwavering and steadfast commitment for countering terrorism. Ethiopia pays a lot just to fight terrorism. Ethiopia spends a lot of money, a lot of human power, a lot of armaments. This all is a result of her commitment just to prevent the spread of terrorism to other regions.
Over the years, the authority has encountered several challenges in undertaking its counter-terrorism programs. The director stressed that collective security and multilateralism are the solutions to strengthen counter-terrorism actions and meaningfully attain targets.
Well, dear viewers, you have been watching EBC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism. Now a quick reminder of the top stories. President Taye Asselassie calls for bold global climate action at UN Climate Week. And media professionals call for united front in telling continental story through the eyes of Africa. Well, dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of today's news. Many thanks for watching us. Bye-bye.